he had tried to get a mortgage before, and he had filed bankruptcy, and the people that he talked to before, they couldn't do it.
Oh, really?
But who you work with matters.
Exactly.
Right? So Brad knows the VA handbook like the back of his hand. So this guy comes to us and he is like, hey, if you guys can get me a house, I'm going to show up to closing in a Batman costume.
Oh my God, I know what you're talking about now.
So he did, man. He showed. So Brad and I are standing outside the title company waiting for him to get there.
Hey guys, this is Devin. I'm here today with Fritz, and if you guys aren't working with a realtor, man, you guys gotta give this guy a call. The first year, he did over 36 transactions, been in the business for over 7 years, and he's very prominent in the low area, but you know what? If you're not, just give him a call anyways. But hey, how's it going, Fritz?
Good, yeah, man. We'll cover pretty much anywhere in West Michigan, so.
Oh yeah, all West Michigan, yeah.
I usually tell people like an hour of Grand Rapids, but sometimes,
Just gotta do what you gotta do.
Lake Shore is kind of far away from my house.
Yeah, I bet. So so what's a little bit about backstory? I know you're in the Marines, so like kind of what's the backstory of you?
Yeah, so I went to Lowell High School, graduated in 2008. I did construction for about 3 years after high school. Residential, commercial, concrete, trim, finish work, stuff like that. Cabinets, custom built all the cabinets at Amway headquarters building.
Oh, really?
So that was a pretty wild job. We were on that one for like a year. But then 2010, I got laid off in July. So that was not good.
No.
And I was like, what am I going to do with my life? Honestly, I'd already, at that point in time, I kind of knew like things weren't going good. So I'd already signed up for the Marine Corps at that point. But I was like still kind of on the fence, like if I was really gonna go or not. I was scared, man. But, then that happened, and I was like, well, I don't know what else I'm gonna do now. So yeah, went to boot camp October 2010. Was in the Marine Corps for 5 years. Flew drones or UAVs, people might know them as, and got out and was gonna do the whole college, get a degree thing. I went to my first class, and I was about 2 minutes into my first class and decided that was not for me. So I was like, well, now what? My mom's been in real estate since 1995. So I was like, well, maybe I'll try real estate. And so I signed up for the class, took my test over. So I stayed, even though I knew like college wasn't it. I was like, that's all I had once I got out.
Oh, yeah.
And I was already signed up for the classes and whatever. So I stuck with it, took my real estate exam over Christmas break for like college Christmas break, and then signed with my first real estate company on January 4th, 2016.
Oh, geez.
So,
yeah. So how long were you in the Marines? So what?
5 years.
5 years?
Yep.
Oh, geez.
I have a weird contract. So when I went to right before I went to boot camp, my recruiter, Kenny Murillo, actually, came to me and was like, hey, this MOS that we have you signed up for, it's actually a 5-year contract. And at the time I was like, I signed for a 4-year. I was like, well, whatever, what's another year? So I had to sign this like literally like right before I shipped. I had to sign this like right before I left the office to go to Lansing. MEPS or whatever. You go from there to MEPS to boot camp.
Yeah.
I remember him saying that, and I signed this piece of paper, and I was like, whatever, what's one more year? No big deal. But the reason I had to do that is because our schooling is so long. It takes us like a whole year just to get through all of our schooling.
Just to fly a drone, man?
So you have to be an FAA certified pilot to do it.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So I had to go to boot camp, then I had to go to MCT, which is like it's called Marine Combat Training, training after boot camp. And then from there, I had to go to Fort Huachuca to learn how to fly UAVs. But the first part of that is getting your pilot's license.
Oh, okay. I actually never knew that. That's kind of cool.
Yep. So I'm an FAA certified pilot.
Oh, man. So then you kind of started doing the realtor stuff. So, do you think a lot of stuff from the Marines, you still kind of, it's always ingrained in you, but like you got a lot out of it to kind of go into the Marines, like the focus or...
Yeah,
attitude?
It's a yes and no. I think I've always kind of had a lot of just motivation and drive and the want to succeed with whatever it is that I'm doing. Even when I was in the Marine Corps, I picked up E5 in like 3 years and some change, which, it's not that big of a deal because our MOS was pretty easy to pick up. But, I've always really kind of been a go-getter, and when I went full time into real estate after, so I did college that whole year, and then I just was like, it's either this or nothing. Like if this doesn't work, then I got to get a real job, and I didn't want to go get a real job, so I just went, dude. And yeah, I don't know, just hit the ground running, and I mean, and that's, you know, with that, like I ran, dude. Like, I mean, it at that point in time, I wouldn't get up until 7 a.m., but I wouldn't go to bed until 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
So my thought process was, because I mean, the Marine Corps, you don't get that much sleep anyways.
No.
You know, whatever. But I was like, okay, if I went to bed at 1 a.m., if I go to bed at 1 and get up at 7, that's 6 hours of sleep. Like, that's plenty of sleep, you know? So I would just get up and I would work on real estate. I treated it like a job. So I would get up, I would go to the office every single day. Chris, Linda, and I, we would basically be at the office every single day in our cubicles, and we'd be there by 8, 9 o'clock at the latest, and we'd usually be there till 4, 4:30, 5 o'clock till we had to go show houses.
Yeah.
You know, so in that time, we were just calling people, texting people, reaching out to people, writing handwritten notes. I mean, whatever we could, I mean, we didn't know what we were doing, but whatever we could think of, we were like, yeah, dude, let's go, let's do it. And then, you know, go show houses at nighttime, like try to find houses for people, like searching for houses and just talking to people, following up with people. Weekends, him and I came up with a thing where, like, in 2017, so 2016 was like my first year in real estate, but I didn't actually get started until April because my license didn't come back from the state for 4 months.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, because they have something where if you're a veteran, you don't have to pay some fee. But back then it was all paper. So I had to like fill this thing out and send it in, and they had to send it back. Well, it took 4 months to get my license back.
Oh, geez.
So I signed on January 4, 2016 with my first brokerage, but I didn't get my license back until April. So I really didn't get started in real estate until about June of 2016. But anyways, 2017, Chris and I were like, all right, there's 52 weeks in a year. We're going to do 52 open houses this year.
There you go.
So instead of being like, okay, let's do one open house a week, right, every weekend.
Yeah.
Then it became a competition. We're like, okay, well, let's see who can do 52 open houses the fastest. Right?
Okay.
So we started doing like 2, 3, 4 open houses in a weekend.
Oh, wow.
We started doing open houses on weekdays.
Jeez. You don't even, I mean, most of the time, do most people even do open houses anymore?
Not anymore because COVID, obviously.
Yeah, kind of killed a lot of it.
The whole multiple offer situation, and like now everybody, well, 6 months ago, you know, to a year ago, it was you list a house on Thursday, offers due on Tuesday. You know, so in that amount of time, or Wednesday to Monday, whatever it is, you can find a time to just get in there. Plus, people were still like the social distancing and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's weird, man. Now it seems like most everybody just like knows a realtor, and I haven't done an open house since before COVID. But even when I was doing them then, it was very common for people to already have someone that they were working with.
Yeah.
I think just our industry in general, you know, between mortgage, like lenders and real estate agents, like put ourselves out there so much that I think the general population kind of just knows that, hey, I need to either talk to a lender or a realtor if I'm going to even consider going to look at a house. And then obviously on Zillow and Realtor.com, they have, you know, suggested people to work with.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like everybody pretty much just knows. So, it used to be before you could pick up some clients at open houses, but it's a lot harder now.
Yeah, I can see that. No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you're right. I mean, most people always kind of word of mouth, like who you work with. And, yeah, obviously, it does matter who you work with, not just any realtor.
Yeah,
kind of
makes a big difference. Who
cool.
you work with matters.
Yes, man. I swear, man, I need a shirt that says that or something.
Maybe we should start a company.
There you go.
Who you work with matters, LLC.
So, I mean, I guess, you know, as you're kind of saying, so what sets you apart with all the, you know, being a vet or realtor, or how do you market yourself to kind of stand apart from all the realtors that you see all over?
Man, I just try to put myself out there as much as I can, and I try to obviously, you know, communicate with people well and follow up with people, and you know, there's if you're providing a service or if you're getting a service from someone, right? Like you want to feel like you know what's going on, like you're in the driver's seat kind of, right? So if someone's reaching out to me for an update, then that's how I know I'm slacking, right? I should be the one who's always like, whenever there's an update of any sort, or even if there's not, right? If I haven't talked to someone in a week, like, okay, I should probably reach out to them and be like, hey, just want to let you know, like, everything is still moving along good. I haven't heard anything from the lender, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if I have heard from him if we're 3 weeks in, basically from like week 2 to week 4, it's just nothing. You're just waiting on the lender to do paperwork bullshit, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times in that time frame, the consumer, the buyer or seller, just feels like, hey, I feel like I should be doing something right now. There's something going on. Like, I haven't heard anything, right? So I try to make it where people aren't reaching out to me to find out what's going on. I want to make it so that they don't have to call me. They don't have to wonder what's going on. Right?
No, exactly.
Whether it's a text, phone call, email, like, I want to make sure that you know what's going on every step of the way.
No, exactly, because, I mean, you know, you got to serve your clients. And, I mean, I do the same thing. I mean, different industries, but it's the same type of thing. Like, no matter what's going on, you always want to stay in touch. You want to say, hey, man, just touching base, you know, just because, yeah, it is a long process. And at the same time, I mean, really, at some point, there is going to be a lot of waiting around. There's nothing you can really do. But, I mean, I've been on the other side, not with you, but I've been on the other side. We're just kind of waiting for things to happen. Like, dude, what the heck is going on? Like, I have no clue. Like, nothing.
Well, yeah, and I mean, most people, it's their biggest financial decision of their life for probably 99% of people.
Yeah.
Really, right? And so to feel like when you're spending that much money or, you know, making that big of a life decision and you're moving and you're packing and you're planning and all this stuff, and to feel like you don't know what's going on, or you feel like your realtor or lender is not updating you on what's going on, like, that's not a very good feeling, right?
No.
So, you know, try to mitigate that.
No, that's smart, man. That's super smart. Because, I mean, and people aren't patient anymore, so they don't do well with that anymore.
No.
But you also are involved in, like, community events things too, because I know that the other day you just did, like, the soup thing. How'd that go? You win?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, I got there's 20 soups there, and mine didn't get voted for at all. So
Next time.
Yeah. No, I just try to be, you know, involved in the community and stuff like that, and just be present. But yeah, also, you know, with the veteran MX thing, and you know, I was involved with 92 for 22 there for a while. You know, really just trying to. The big thing with veterans, dude, like when we get out, like you're for however many years you're in, every single day, it's like, show up on this day at this time, be here for formation at this time, like go do this, go do that. You know, you can't leave until 4:30, 6:30, 9:30 at night, whatever the hell it is. Hey, you're not going home, right? But dude, like when you get out, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, most people go in the military, they're 18 years old. They go straight from high school to military. They've never worked a real job a day in their life. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to talk to. You know, you just spent the last 4, 8, 12, 16 years of your life, like basically with your homies.
Yeah.
All day, every day. And now you're never going to see them again.
Nope.
You know, so.
You try to keep in touch.
Yeah.
Call maybe once on Blue Moon.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard though, especially like I got a couple. You know, one's in Pennsylvania, one's in Houston. It's like, well, that's not going to happen very often. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where we were going with that.
I don't either. It's a long, long way down, but that's all right.
The community involvement and stuff like that. So, you know, with that whole the veteran community, right? Try to. When you're in, you have this camaraderie and this brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever you want to call it, right, nowadays. And when you get out, you don't have that, right? So the Veteran MX Foundation with dirt bikes is, you know, it's just basically really what it all boils down to is we're trying to get vets on dirt bikes to, one, not only physical exercise and like mental, like using your brain, hand-eye coordination, all that kind of stuff, but also the camaraderie part of it where you can get around other vets who are also riding dirt bikes, just to have that camaraderie and that, you know, kind of talking shit and having a good time.
There's nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
No, 100%, man. So, so bringing up military, so with I know there's a VA loan. I know it's kind of a little bit differently. So, like, have you noticed working with a lot of like vets, like unique challenges when you're trying to help them buy a house, or how does that kind of look for? Is this the same, or is there a little bit of differences there, or how does that look?
So yeah, the VA home loan is very similar to FHA, RD, stuff like that. Well, not RD, but FHA. A lot of it is just the things you see the most is like peeling paint and handrails. Like those are like the number two top things that will get called out with that. But as far as the veterans themselves go, you know, it's stuff like some veterans they're really really good with their finances, and some of them are not. And it's anywhere in between. So really no different than like regular buyers, But they do say the veterans who use the VA home loan have a better chance of closing than like someone getting a conventional loan.
Do you feel like we've kind of seen that to be true, or is it just kind of?
Yeah, I mean, because the ones that do have their ducks in a row, like their ducks are in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, their finances are taken care of. They're going to work. I mean, they're not messing around. They don't have credit card debt. They don't have this. They don't have that. I mean, they're like I said, like, dude, I just go, like,
yeah,
there's a lot of veterans out there who, when they get out, all they know how to do is go. And like when I say go, they just work. They just get up and they go to work and they just do their shit and they're just, just going.
No, I feel that. I still do that. So.
Right. I mean, because once you stop, dude, then you're just lost.
Pretty much.
So.
No, really. So I mean, no, that's totally true. And I guess the other thing I was kind of wondering is like, with everything going on, like last year, we're crazy low, and then all of a sudden towards the end of the year, everything went crazy high. And now things that you kind of mentioned a little bit ago, like now the market's even changing again. So like, how do you stay up to date with all that? Like, how do you stay on top of all that? Like,
it's hard, man. I mean, honestly, just consume social media. No, there's a few. There's actually there's one company. It's called Keeping Current Matters. They send out an email every single day with like different video topics and tips and stuff like that. But they also do a really good job of keeping up with mortgage industry and interest rates and stuff like that. So that's basically my primary source of kind of keeping up with the market as a whole. I would say nationally.
Yeah.
Locally, just chatting with the lenders that I do work with, like, hey, what are you seeing? What's going on? Like, hey, let me know if something crazy happens. If interest rates all of a sudden like go way up, like obviously we need to know that because we have clients that's going to change. That's going to change for them. Coming to buy, or if someone's been pre-approved for 3 months and we've been looking for 3 months, and now their pre-approval is going to be up, and they got to update their pre-approval. Right, and they were locked in at 6% or 6.25%, and now they're going to be at 6.5 or 6.75. Makes a big difference. Makes a huge difference.
Oh, I bet.
0.25% of an interest rate makes a huge difference on your monthly payment.
I bet. I could totally see that. But I mean, and like, kind of the rabbit hole there. I was going to say, I mean, yes, it is, but like at the same time, I mean, sometimes it's. I guess what I always thought is if you're going to buy a house, might as well just buy the house. But, because interest rates are always going to change. So you're kind of buying the house down to interest rate. But,
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for the minute, when the rates were high last fall, everybody was like, oh, what did they say? They say marry the house, date the rate.
Yeah, there you go.
But, I mean, if you were at 7.25 this fall, and now rates are really, for like your average consumer, they're down to like 6.25. Like that's huge.
No, that is
for your
huge.
monthly payment. Like if you refied that, you would be saving yourself tens of thousands of dollars over the course of the 30-year loan.
Oh, 100%. So, have you have any crazy stories, any good crazy stories that's happened over the last couple of years, or has it been kind of? No?
I mean, probably like with just real estate.
Yeah, just real estate.
Or my life.
Or
my life, because
I don't know if we got enough time for all that one. Man.
Yeah. No, me and Brad had a guy. It's probably been about 5 years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago. He was homeless, living in Florida. He was homeless, and he had tried to get a mortgage before, and he had filed bankruptcy, and the people that he talked to before, they couldn't do it.
Oh, really?
But who you work with matters.
Exactly.
Right? So Brad knows the VA handbook like the back of his hand. And I didn't know this, but when you file bankruptcy, there's two different types of bankruptcy. And there's like, I don't know, subject something and something else. Or something, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. But this kid, he had filed the type of bankruptcy where if you file that type versus the other type, you can actually buy a house still. Like you can file bankruptcy, and then after, I want to say it was like 24 months or something like that. It might have been 12. You're eligible to buy a house, but I mean, we had to jump through a lot of hoops to make it happen, and he had to like go to court and like present stuff to the judge, and Brad had to like figure out all this crazy stuff. But we basically ended up making it so he was able to get pre-approved, and we went and found him a house and wrote an offer and got it accepted. And at the beginning of all that, he had told us that, because you know back then Brad and I were like, hey man, like we can make anything happen, right?
Yeah.
So this guy comes to us and he's like, hey, if you guys can get me a house, I'm gonna show up to closing in a Batman costume.
Oh my God, I know what you're talking about now.
So he did, man. So Brad and I are standing outside the title company waiting for him to get there, and he gets out of the car and we see him like across the parking lot, and Brad and I are like, yo, did you bring your gun? Because this dude's in a Batman costume.
Oh, my God.
And he comes and walks up to us, and we're both kind of like, you know, what's about to happen? And he's like, what's up, guys? And we're like, what the heck? He's like, yeah, I told you guys I was going to show up in a Batman costume. And we're like, neither of us really remembered that. And he's like, did you think I was kidding? We're like,
oh, man.
No, not at all. But yeah, so moral of the story, I mean, dude was homeless like a year before, living in under a palm tree in Florida, moved back up here. He had filed bankruptcy down there, whatever, whether it was 12 or 24 months. But yeah, we found him a home, used his VA home loan and got him a home.
Dude, that's pretty crazy. Like,
yeah.
Showed right up in his Batman costume, huh? Right?
Showed up to closing in a Batman costume.
I mean,
and signed it. Signed the whole time. So the Batman costume, it was like legit, like rubber, like.
Oh really?
Yeah, dude. And it was in the summertime, so it was hot. And he had it the mask on and everything, and he would like do some signatures, and he'd be like, I gotta take a break, and he'd like take his mask off and like take a drink of water, and then like, all right, I'm ready to go, and then he would like put his mask back on and like be signing and like talking like Batman and the whole.
Oh really?
Night,
oh man. Yeah. Oh, that must have been awesome.
It was weird, but it was cool.
Oh, that must have been awesome.
I mean, it was really just, you know, the whole thing for us with the veterans, dude, is like just helping veterans in general, but you know, the whole home ownership thing is like, it's a big deal for a lot of veterans.
Oh yeah.
You know? I mean, it's a big deal for anybody,
yeah,
but veterans
general,
especially,
yeah.
I feel like. I mean, veterans really feel like, I feel like maybe they kind of feel like they own a piece of something that they defended, kind of thing, or something like that. So.
Yeah. No, I can see that. No. Man. That's crazy. I'm sorry I can't get over that. I got that. I just kind of imitating my stories because I've seen pictures and stuff like a while ago, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So just out of curiosity, so what's your process? So you get a client. I mean, like, how do you help them find their like dream home or whatever? Like, so like they reach out to you. So what does that process kind of look like?
Yeah. So I mean, you know, first things first is you got to get a pre-approval. You got to talk to a lender. Can't really do anything without a pre-approval nowadays. Pretty much everybody wants to see a copy of a pre-approval when you write an offer. But yeah, get with the lender, get pre-approved, and then once we know, you know, what you're working with, what type of financing you can do or what you want to do, depending on what you're able to do and how much you want to spend, then yeah, we can start building out a search and figure out an area that you want and what you want for beds, baths, and stuff like that, lot size, etc. Right? Location's a big thing for a lot of people. Obviously, you don't want to be too far away from your work. You got to drive there every day. But nowadays, a lot of people work from home, so you know sometimes location isn't always a big deal. But yeah, get that set up, and then once houses come up, we just go check them out. And obviously, my construction background, I can see a lot of things that most people can't see, you know, in houses. Like I was at one today where the ceiling was sagging.
Oh,
right?
jeez.
The ceiling was sagging in the kitchen. And there's a wall pretty much down the whole middle of this house, except for in the kitchen. So I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, this wall is right down the middle. I can tell it is. I know it is. And I'm looking at it, and it's sagging, and I'm like, dude, there was a wall there before. You know?
It was
They took the
structural
wall.
wall.
Yeah,
Or whatever you want to call it.
yeah. It was a support wall.
Support wall, there you go.
And they took it out to make the kitchen bigger and like open it up for open concept, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, well, let's go look in the attic. And so the wall went this way, and the trusses go this way, right?
Yeah.
So they took the wall out that was holding the trusses up. So now, like the house was built in 1965, so it's old school.
Oh yeah.
So now it's like sagging like this because there's nothing holding it up, right? Like that's just, construction background. I just see it. But yeah, so find a house, write an offer, try to get it accepted nowadays. We're back to February 2023, back to multiple offers. But yeah, try to get it accepted and do inspections if we can. Then that's, when the lender steps in and you have to send the lender all your paperwork or whatever they need, updated paperwork, stuff like that. That usually takes nowadays anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. Just all depends on how quickly you can get the lender what they need.
That's not bad.
But, we're closing them 14 to 21 days.
Wow, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, so get your insurance quote.
Yeah,
Once
you
get
go.
your offer accepted,
There you go.
get an offer accepted, get your insurance quote, get with the lender, get all your paperwork turned in, and basically then it's just hurry up and wait. And then, get the cleared close and
It's not too bad.
a lot of times sign a stack of papers about this thick, and then you're good to go.
Usually I'm showing people a bunch of homes, or once you had that initial meeting, you kind of go through the details of what they're looking for.
Yeah, it really all depends. It's so hard nowadays. I used to, before, all the craziness, I used to literally sit people down and be like, all right, we're going to go through what are your wants and needs in a home, right? And we broke it down. There was like 6 pages of stuff that I would go through, just trying to pull out like little things that were important to them.
Yeah.
And that helped at that point in time, but the last 2-3 years, excuse me, it's like people see a house and they want to see it right now.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not pre-approved.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right? So now we're same day. Hey, I saw this house. I want to go see it. Hey, I'm not pre-approved. Okay, cool. Here, reach out to the lender. Send him your information. He'll get you pre-approved. I'll schedule the showing for 5 o'clock tonight, and we'll go check it out and go look at it. You know? And then, like, when you're there, that's for me when I start kind of feeling people out, like, okay, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you need for this? What do you need for that? So I'm kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone with that first showing.
Makes sense.
And so you can do, if I tried to do that initial meeting now, like, hey, we got to pump the brakes. Like, hey, I'm not going to go show you that house because we got to have this initial, sit down. Like, I'm going to lose people because everybody wants everything right now.
Well, yeah. No, and now it's, I don't know how easy it was back then, but now there's so many houses that it's all over the place. You know what I mean? You can just jump on Zillow and
but the problem is now there's not enough houses now.
Yeah.
When I started, there was an ample supply of houses. So you could go in a weekend, you could go look at 4, 5, 6 houses. You could go look at 3 of them on Saturday and 3 of them on Sunday and then go, okay, yeah, we're going to sleep on it and then, maybe make an offer on Monday or Tuesday. Where now, you can't do that.
No, I don't blame you there.
Especially right now, this exact time. Like, people aren't doing the whole list on Thursday, offers due on Tuesday. It's more like you have to, if a house comes up, you got to go look at it that same day because it'll probably be gone tomorrow.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. That's crazy. Well, honestly, I have seen that a little bit because I do just check on Zillow every so often. So, I guess was that the year starting off, but it's still February here. It just started. What's your kind of goals for this year? Like, what are you trying to get out there and accomplish?
Goal for this year is $8 million in volume, so it's roughly anywhere between 40 to 50 houses.
Okay.
Just all depends on the sales price. My sales prices a lot of times are kind of all over the place. Sometimes I have higher stuff, sometimes I have lower stuff. I somehow end up doing quite a few vacant land deals every year, which are, usually not very much money, which is not a big deal. I love doing it. I love land. I love the new construction process, helping people through that. And obviously I have a background in that and I enjoy it. So I actually wanted to be a builder when I was a little kid.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so I
See, I want to be an architect, so I could
well,
sign you
dude,
to
I
build, man. Yeah.
wanted to be a builder, and then when I was in high school, I thought about going to. There's a place in Ohio. It's called Ball State. It's like the #1 architecture school or something at that time. But then I found out architecture is not like pencil and paper and rulers.
No.
Like I thought it was like old school, right? So the first class I took was like literally pencil and paper. But then the next class in high school, the second class was like the computer stuff, and I'm like, I don't like this.
No, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's awesome. And so I guess, do you like? I know you kind of can do it all. Do you like to specialize in a certain area, like just new construction, buy, sell, or is this kind of you don't really like to see yourself as a specialist, or you just kind of do whatever? Or?
No, yeah, I mean, I'm really. People who say my specialty is first-time home buyers, I don't really feel like it's not really a specialty in my opinion. Like you're like a first-time home buyer is no different than any buyer.
No.
Buyer's a buyer.
Yeah.
A seller's a seller.
Yeah.
And not to say that each one doesn't have its own quirks and people aren't important or whatever, but it's like it's the same steps, right?
Yeah.
No matter if you're helping somebody buy, it's the same steps of the process, and it's sellers, same steps of the process, right?
Yeah.
I would say more where we specialize is in the veterans, the VA home loans, the veteran community, because there's so many little things that go into a VA home loan that most people don't know, especially listing agents and especially the veteran. Most veterans think that the VA home loan comes from the VA, like where we go and get our disability and like get medical care. Like we go to Wyoming and go to the VA hospital. Like most veterans, I've literally had veterans tell me like they went to the VA hospital to see about using their VA home loan.
Oh God, yeah.
Right. So, just trying to raise awareness about that and help veterans through that process, because most veterans have no clue.
No.
And then most realtors have no clue how the process really works and how similar it really is to just any other loan.
This sounds different enough that they kind of shy away from it, kind of to some degree, probably.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the big thing too with the purchase agreement in West Michigan is it used to be the seller had to pay for a termite inspection, and they had to pay the closing fee. But what most listing agents thought the closing fee was that they had to pay the buyer's closing costs, the veteran's entire closing costs. So now we're talking a closing fee is usually anywhere from $250, $350, maybe $400. It's the title company's closing fee.
Oh.
Whereas, like, when I first got in the business, realtors thought that it was their entire closing costs. We're talking 6, 10, 12 grand, right?
It's a big difference.
Right, so just a lack of education, and I guess our, kind of specialty is helping educate realtors on what the VA home loan is and what those things are, the termite and the closing fee, and how we can mitigate those things. Now, the sellers don't have to pay the termite inspection. So that's a big thing. So now we're just dealing with the closing fee, which is, like I said, $250, $300,
That's not bad.
$400. It's still, I mean, as a seller, when you're looking at offers, you go, oh, well, this one I don't have to pay it, this one I do. And there's a lot of stigma around the 0% down. They feel like veterans don't have like skin in the game because they don't have to do a down payment. So kind of fighting that battle of like, well, they don't have to put a down payment because they served your country, so but you have to kind of say that like in a nice roundabout way.
Yeah I can see that. Oh man. So I guess so what's the best way people can kind of get a hold of you or look you up? I mean, is it best on Facebook, LinkedIn, or wherever? I mean, we'll put your description or we'll put your information down below, but
yeah, so just my name on Facebook, FritzBall23 on Instagram.
There you go.
And then I think my TikTok is just FritzBall, but yeah, phone number is 616-813-3010. That's it. Best way to get a hold of me is text or Facebook Messenger.
Sounds perfect, man.
Yeah.
Hey, well, thanks for coming on, man, and chatting with us.
Yeah,
and
thank you. Thanks for having me.